Simply just wanted to take the time to address some of the market standards today, or at the time of recording this video, because um, a lot of people expect their tokens to do great, but don't even know which chain they're on, and then they don't know what that chain comes with, and they don't even know what that chain is to begin with. So we aren't going to go too far into details. We're just going to go over what your chain is doing and the success it's having. But before we get into that, there are some definitions and some understanding you need to have coming into this. All right. So first, what is TVL? What does it stand for? Well, TVL stands for your total value locked by the chain, which is a metric used to measure the amount of assets that's currently being held in a particular blockchain. It is calculated by adding up the value of all the tokens that are locked in the smart contracts of that blockchain. This metric is often used to gauge the popularity and trustworthiness of a blockchain, as a higher TVL indicates that more users are willing to lock their assets. So that's definition number one. That's item number one that you need to understand. Secondly is protocols. Okay, so protocols is something else that we're going to be looking at as well. What is a protocol? Well, to give you a brief definition or an example, with the internet as a broad range, it has a broad range of protocols. Some of those being HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, SSH. Likewise, the blockchain has a bunch of protocols that have many differences, right? So various that some offer some advantages while offering disadvantages that others don't also offer at the same time. So a lot of protocols, a lot of TV or in the a lot of protocols, staying on the topic of protocols, and they bring value. They're important, right? And conventional cryptocurrencies, proof of work, are also used to confirm the validity of transactions. Today, new technologies in finance, corporate governance, and other fields are being built on the concepts of proof of work. So now, since I've given you that kind of information, and here's some other things you can look at: distributed ledgers, which is a publicly visible history of the transactions on the blockchain. Smart contracts, which build on that proof of work system that Bitcoin created to establish contracts that can be signed and created securely, so on and so forth. See, these are some definitions. These are those are some things you should understand as a crypto investor, because those are the very basics of what your what asset you are actually holding is made up of. But here are some protocols to keep in mind, because there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of protocols, but let's give you some to know. Hyperledgers are a protocol. Multi-chain is a protocol. Enterprise Ethereum is a protocol. Corda is a protocol, and Quorum is a protocol as well. And why do these protocols matter? When launching a blockchain, software development projects, the selection of a blockchain protocol is one of the most important decisions that will have to be made. The protocols matter because they determine the scope of functionality that your software can provide. It is important to understand that the leading protocols can contain highly sophisticated technologies that required the collaboration of thousands of computer scientists. Instead of reinventing the wheel, your project can be completely completed in less time with fewer resources by taking advantage of a protocol. So since I've given you guys a rough understanding of protocols and TVL, let's look at these charts. So now that we actually have so now we can actually look at it and have some knowledge, right? So this is the TVL. The TVL was going crazy during the time of the Bitcoin halving period and that Bitcoin bull run, peaking out around that same time Bitcoin was peaking out, which was December 3rd of 2021. And that was actually when Bitcoin also started its decline, and that's when TVLs were at their peak. Now we're seeing them not lowest than we've seen before, but they are still low. They're still at a 52-week there right now. It's not at a 52-week low. The 52-week low was December 23rd of 2022, and currently we're seeing it 30% above that period. So Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, but the TVLs are at a good state. Now let's get into the exact spectrums of how your or which TVLs, not TVLs, but which blockchains are doing the best. Ethereum dominating the game with 70% plus dominance with the TVLs. So if you're like, oh, we're greater than Ethereum or your chain's greater than Ethereum, no, it's not. At least not right now. It can get better, but at the moment, Ethereum is ruling the game. Is ruling. Second is Tron. Some of you guys aren't even familiar with Tron. Some of you guys didn't even know Tron was the biggest. But there's the others come into play, but Binance is right behind Tron. Then you have Arb, and then you have Solana, and then you have Polygon, and then you have Avalanche, and then you have Optizium, and then you have Chronos. What are their TVLs in specific, and what are their protocols? So while Tron, we already knew that Ethereum was going to be the biggest dog on the block. All right, we don't even need to talk about them. While Tron does have lower protocols, they have more TVLs. And while they have, yeah, they have they have more TVLs, and which is they have more value locked with them. And while Binance has way more, a gargantuan amount more protocols than Tron, they have less value locked with them. Not only is Binance greater than Tron, so is Arb in form of protocols, so is Solana, so is Polygon, so is Avalanche or AVAX, and the top 10 consist of others like Optizium, Chronos, and Kava, right? And the ones that have had the most run or the biggest run this year, as far as the value locked within them, is Sui, Sui. If you, by the way, if you're in one of these tokens, definitely let it be known in the comment section down below. All right. But Aora, you also have WeMix, not Remix, WeMix. You have Elron, who's up 66% for the year. I'm trying to find WeMix, who's up over 300%. Mantle is up 65%, basically. And where's WeMix at? Where's WeMix? Because WeMix is a big one. They're at 12. They're ranked 12 right now. WeMix, there it is. They're ranked 12, like I said, with 10 protocols, and they have $290 million locked with them, with a market cap of $590 million. So all of this is not to say that your token sucks. This is to say, do some research. Figure out more about your token. All right, figure out more about the chain your token is linked with, because right now we see that Binance has 3.6 billion dollars worth locked with them, and they have a market cap of 35.51 billion. And the one that has the most value locked with them is Ethereum, who have 55.85%. And as we saw earlier, that is 75 or 70% of the total value locked in all of crypto. So their chain is the biggest. Their chain has been the biggest for a long time. And the question is, will they fall and who will take them to that fall? All right. Thank you guys all for watching, though. It is the Scripted Legend signing out. You have a blessed one. Stay safe. Peace.